This is my cat. Hi, Sammy. Okay, here we go. We're just gonna put you right there. All right. Hey guys, it's Sam. So first off, I want to say thank you so much for 100 views on my last video. I know in YouTube terms it's not really that much, but for me that's a ton, especially starting off. So I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate all of you guys that have subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Really appreciate the support so far. So today we're going to be talking about 5 hacks or tips that you can use for taking pictures with an iPhone. You might know all of these tips. Some of them are kind of self-explanatory, but I find these helpful and hope that they might help you. So tip number 1 is something I actually kind of just figured out that an iPhone can do. I don't know if everybody knew this already, but it's essentially that you can change your ISO on your iPhone. Now, ISO is essentially artificial light. So like for this setup, I would have the ISO on my phone just a little bit so that it was a little bit darker in here, because if it wasn't, it would look overexposed and all this stuff. But basically, ISO is artificial light. So what you do is when you click the focus on your camera, there's going to be like a little icon of like a sun or something like that. And all you have to do is just slide it up or down in order to make it lighter or darker. And that's super helpful for like low light photography or even filmmaking, like just for videos. That is so helpful. So anyway, that's a really great tip, number 1. So yeah, starting it off strong. So tip number 2 is to not zoom in when you're taking pictures. Like, I know sometimes it cannot be avoided, but it's the worst. It just makes the image look so bad. It's unbelievable. So that is something you don't want to do. There's kind of a rule of thumb that I've heard for iPhones in particular, is that if you're doing like portrait photography, is you want your subject to be about 8 feet away to have that shallow depth of field. So instead of zooming in, especially for like portraits and stuff, you just want to try to get it straight up how the camera has it cropped in, because if you zoom it in, it just doesn't look good. So do not zoom in for your pictures if you can avoid it at all. It just doesn't look good. If you take away anything from this video, do not zoom in, please. Thank you. So tip number 3 is to shoot from a low angle. Of course, for photography, there's never the perfect angle. I took this picture of some flowers the other day, and it turned out really cool. I took it from a lower angle, and this is how it turned out. And you know, I mean, as far as that goes, a low angle is probably the best bet for a lot of that closer up photography that you're going to be taking with your iPhone. So that's a nice little tip in terms of angles for taking pictures with your iPhone. So number 4 is not really about the camera itself, but editing. So Apple has an editor built in that you might have used. It has like a few filters, and then like, you know, the normal like black point and exposure and all of that stuff. Don't use that. It's good, but you can get so many better results for like the free apps that they have for editors. I personally use Snapseed. I think it's a Google app. One of my friends told me about it, and it's awesome. Like, it's got so many different options, especially if you're into landscape photography. Like, this is just such a great app. The biggest reason for this is the basic edits that need to make your picture look more like they've been taken with a DSLR. And here's what I mean. So basically there's this effect called like the blur radial effect or whatever. And it's essentially this little circle, and it keeps everything inside that circle in focus and everything outside of it out of focus. So it like blurs, and you can change the blur by however much you want. That is a very helpful tip. You do not want to overuse it, but it is super helpful, especially with iPhone photography, because it helps to make it look like it's, you know, a little bit more professional. Helps to draw more of your eye towards the subject or whatever you are taking the picture of. So there's like little things like that that can just really be helpful that you can't get on the Apple editor. So you really want to use like an app that has a pretty decent editor, and there's so many out there that are free. And again, Snapseed is what I use. That's completely free, and it's super awesome, super nice, and I use that for editing a lot of my photos on my iPhone. So tip number 5 is kind of stupid, but kind of cool. I don't know, I kind of like it. I think it's dope. It's these 2 volume buttons right here. This actually can take your pictures. Like, this can be your shutter button. So instead of using the white button that you click to take your pictures, you can just use this. You can use the buttons on the side, like the sleep button or the volume buttons, either one. And you can even hold it down too to get that shutter effect if you're taking like action shots or something like that. That is super cool. It can be super helpful, especially like this has happened to me before, where you go out in the cold or something like that, and it's in your screen, like it won't pick up, your fingerprint. You won't like it won't it won't make that connection. It is the worst. And so if you're trying to take a picture, you can just use these buttons, no problem, really quick. Slide it back in your pocket, and you're good to go. All right, guys. So that's it. Pretty short video, but I think a lot of you use your phone to take pictures, and honestly, the iPhone has a great camera. There's so many. It's so capable of taking great pictures. And with those 5 tips, whether you knew them or not, I hope they help you out. It can really be great to just know different things about your camera, whether it be your iPhone or super expensive DSLR. So anyway, this is the majority of my pictures that I take at the moment. Like, this is it. This is the camera I use. So definitely look into these tips, try them out. Maybe try them on your next Instagram post or whatever it might be. But anyway, yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this was helpful in some way. If you liked it, please like and subscribe if you can. I really appreciate all the support. Again, thank you so much to all of you that watched my last video. Got some great feedback, and yeah, anyway, hope you guys are staying safe, and I will see you later. Goodbye.